Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. I hope you had a great weekend and everything is better. We had snow, of course, and we've been snowed in. Not really. I mean, I could leave, but where I'm at, I'm kind of like in an old river delta. So there's to get out of here, there's a pretty steep grade to go up. And it's one of those roads where you go up and then like if you want to go towards anything you have to take like a greater than like a hairpin turn at the top of this hill. So in my little two-wheel drive Ford, uh, it doesn't work so well. I kind of have to take my chances and just kind of go and hope that nobody's coming in either direction. Thankfully, it's not a hugely traveled road. It's fairly open traffic there. I mean, it's usually not traveled at all. Like I should say, it's pretty sparse traffic there, and especially when it's snowy because it's on a hillside. It's covered on both sides by trees, so it never really clears off very well. People just avoid it. So when I go to get out of here, I kind of have to just go for it and hope that nothing bad happens. So far, 12 years in, I've lived here for 12 years now, and nothing's happened. But it's a little bit sketchy. So we just didn't go anywhere this weekend. I needed to go grocery shopping. Malia was going to go to her parents' house for the weekend, but snow happened, so stuck. And on top of all of that, I didn't do anything all weekend, which was pretty cool. No, I did a lot of thinking and a lot of reading. I have read. Last week I read The Outsider. We'll probably do a book review on it this week from Stephen King. It's the kind of the next book in line for Holly, which The Outsider and Holly are the two books I really wanted to read because they're adjacent to a kind of story that I'm writing. Whereas the first three books that I didn't like that much, that were just kind of those I just wanted to read, so I had context for this character. So I read The Outsider last week, finished it up, and then I've read probably like at least six, maybe more, kind of not novellas, novelettes, short stories, just short fiction. Both, actually, I've read way more than that now that I think about it. Tor.com puts out a short story collection. I read all of those. They do it like every quarter. I read all of those, which was I think six of those, and then I read five of the six creature features from Amazon Readings October-ish pack. Again, I'm writing a sort of a creature thing, so a little bit of study for a lot of that. And then yesterday I sat down and read the Call of Cthulhu again, which I hadn't read in a long time. I have this man, I'll have to show them to you someday. Maybe we'll talk about that. So I read the Call of Cthulhu as a study because my story is, I don't want to say it's a retelling of the Call of Cthulhu. It's not in any way a retelling, but it is extremely familiar to that sort of story. So I wanted to read it as kind of a study into how this main character progresses from skeptic to believer or whatever. So I did a lot of that, but I haven't done any writing. So I actually, Wednesday of last week, that's not true, I have, but the last recorded, like I wrote today was on Wednesday of last week. These last 5 days, I've done quite a bit of research. I have mapped out the next bunch of scenes, and I actually think I now have, like, I know the kind of the puzzle that my character's going to have to go through to succeed or fail or whatever's going to happen, which is a problem that I had the first time I tried to write a book. The first time I tried, I knew I had the character, I had the main plot point of him, meeting a person. I had the final fight, meaning that I knew, and at the end of this, he needs to he needs to, there needs to be that growth arc. Something needs to happen. He needs to accept the reality and just suck it up and do the thing. And he does the thing and has the fight and wins. But all of the stuff in between is the like moments where he has to be challenged and back off, challenged and back off, challenged and back off. And I didn't have any of those things figured out. And so when I got to that point in writing, it was middle of November. I'm trying to write a novel in a month, and I just didn't have it. So I just started making shit up, and it was not good. And I don't want to do that this time. I recognize this time that this entire book is going to be rewritten. Like, there's nothing that I've written so far is, well, I mean, there might be a couple of sentences or whatever, but for the majority of this book, it's all going to be thrown away and rewritten, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. I recognize that as part of the process, but I still want to have like the loose framework of the story put together when I get to that rewrite. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm writing this story as a discovery method to get there. And I wanted to make sure that I had that middle puzzle. I need that moment where the main character goes, all right, fine. And in this story, unlike the first story, well, that's not true. No, they both had it. This story has an A and a B story. There is the main, like, here's the bad guy, we got to face the bad guy. That's the A story, which is the main, like, the character's growth and all that stuff is going to happen through that story. But there's a B story of there's something else going on interlaced that the character has to kind of work out and work through and deal with, and that just getting in the way and that sort of stuff. And so I need to make sure that all of that stuff works by the time I get to the end of the story. So I've been mapping. I've done some research. I found some creatures that make sense for this area of the world that I'm going to write into the fiction. And I just need to, now it's just, let's do the writing, right? So I've taken a break, but the reason I haven't been writing like for realsies, I've done research, I've done some edits, I've done some little bits. I haven't done any big days, is because I still lack motivation. And this is one of those instances of knowing too much. There's a saying when you're doing art of any kind, it's just be stupid. Like, let yourself do whatever it is, and don't think about I'm not sitting here thinking about the theme of the book and the character's arc and the this and that, but motivation is the thing that I would say bothers me the most when I'm reading. When a character does something that's just like, why did he do that? Like, why did that character do that? Is it just because they needed to progress the story? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there needs to be people do things for a reason, and my character needs a reason to go on this adventure. I've given the character a reason to go to the place of the adventure. That I struggled with at first. I have that locked in. All right, he has to go there. Like, that's just a place he has to be. Now I need to find his reason for investigating this larger problem. What is his reason? And I still don't know it yet. I could stick to, the kind of tropey, which I probably will. Like, for this first draft, for sure, his reason will be he can't let it go. Like, he's an investigator. Like, he has to know things, and he has to know what's going on, and so he will see this through just because he has to. But I don't think that's convincing character motivation going forward. Like, for this first draft it'll work. I think that I need to figure out a better reason in the second or third drafts for him to really, go through some pretty crazy situations. Going back to what I said about the Bill Hodges trilogy, there was a lot of character action in those books that didn't make any sense. The characters that did things that were just like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, why would that character go there? Give me a believable reason. So I've been trying to find that believable reason, and like I just said, I'm going to stick with the idea of this character as an investigator. He is a journalist, and so he has to follow every thread. That's just a compulsion of his. And we'll go with that for now, and we'll see if that works by the time I get to the end of the book. But I'm back to writing. So Did a little bit this morning, and I'm going to work a little bit more today on it, and hopefully, get back on pace. I've given myself 3 months for this first draft. I think that's a realistic length of time to write a 30 to 40,000 word book. I don't see it being any more than that. I think it's going to be a good, solid first draft, and then we'll go from there. But I think 3 months to draft it and 3 months to revise it gives me the remaining 6 months of the year to figure out how to publish it. And if I know myself, it'll be more like 5 months to draft it, 2 months to revise it, and then a hurdle to try to, and then I'll procrastinate for 2 months, and then I'll just push through and see what I can do. That's more realistic, but I'm giving myself 3 months. We'll see what happens. How was your weekend? Did anything exciting? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is tombolo, and now meaning a split that joins an offshore island to the mainland. Until they decide to build a bridge, the single lane road on the tombolo is the only way on and off the island. Tombolo, T-O-M-B-O-L-O. That's fun. I've never heard that before. A split that joins an offshore island to the mainland. Huh. I might have to figure out how to use that in something. I don't know what.